Thank you so much. Pleasure to be interacting with all of you after this marathon and very hectic last week. We are here since the 18th of this month, and during this period, we have had a series of bilateral meetings at the level of the Prime Minister. He had his meeting with the counterparts. I had meetings with the foreign ministers of a number of countries, basically to discuss our bilateral cooperation and also sharing our perspective on the regional and global situation. At the same time, we also apprised them of the steps which are being taken within the country to improve the economic situation and other trade and development issues. We also held several ministerial meetings with regard to climate change, also Summit of the Future. We also had, the Prime Minister also had a very, he spoke, he had a speech at the UN General Assembly in which he also highlighted a number of issues, including the regional issues, Pakistan's perspective on Afghanistan, Pakistan's perspective on the peace and stability within the region, and also the efforts which are being made by Pakistan in the development objectives. We also, the Prime Minister apprised about the role that Pakistan has played in the climate change negotiations. As you are aware that as head of the G77 plus China, Pakistan played a critical role in forging a consensus on loss and damage issue, plus the climate finance issue. And also we expressed the hope that in the COP28, which is going to take place in November in UAE, most of the understandings which had been reached between the member countries, there would be some implementation mechanism that would be established. Pakistan certainly is one of the worst affected as far as climate change is concerned, because it has affected about 33 million people. One third of the country was inundated with water, and about $30 billion worth of losses were suffered as a result of the thing. We also, in our interaction at the OIC contact group on Kashmir, OIC contact group on Palestine, ministerial coordination meeting of the OIC as well as SCO, we highlighted other issues, including the efforts towards peace and stability in our region. Particularly, we also mentioned the Jammu and Kashmir dispute in our interaction with our interlocutors. Since we are sitting in the United Nations, obviously, it reminds us of the unfulfilled promises which were made to the people of Jammu and Kashmir for the implementation of the UN Security Council resolutions, and the denial of justice to the people of Kashmir. So these were some of the issues that we had discussed and highlighted. So I'll be very happy to respond to any questions that you may raise.
Before we open the proceedings for question and answer, I would request that you should keep your question brief so that more and more people can participate in this session. So as a matter of tradition, I would request senior ANCA member to go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Amanat. My name is Abdul Hamid Sayam. On behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association, first we welcome you, Mr. Minister. We are glad that you gave us this time, and I hope we will have a very good encounter with you. I have a few questions related to the
questions.
but they are related to the same subject, okay, about Jammu and Kashmir and Palestine. Mm-hmm. Many Arab countries now are abandoning the Palestinians. So would we ever imagine Pakistan one day would also turn its back to the people of Jammu and Kashmir? And the second, would Pakistan one day normalize relations with Israel before the Palestinians have their own independent, contiguous, and sovereign state? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think this is an important question, but to be very honest, in our interactions that we have had in the last 4 or 5 days, including in the OIC ministerial meeting, or for that matter during the OIC contact group on Palestine, which met day before yesterday, we didn't get this impression that Palestine or the issue or the Palestinian people were being abandoned by any of the Muslim countries or OIC member countries. As a matter of fact, there was a reiteration of the support that is being extended or which will continue to be extended to the people of Kashmir for their right, legitimate rights, which have been guaranteed to them or mentioned in the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. So that is the impression that we have got during all the interactions that we have had, whether they were bilateral meetings or whether they were in the context of the overall ministerial meetings or the contact group on Kashmir. As a matter of fact, there was an expression of solid support for the Palestinian cause as well as the people of Palestine. Jammu and Kashmir, again, is certainly an issue of great importance. That's the core dispute between India and Pakistan. It is because of this issue that we have had tensions, conflicts, and wars between our two countries. And then it is because of this factor and the kind of steps which India had taken on 5th August 2019 to further deny the Kashmiris their right, including the attempt being made by the Indian side to change the demographics of Jammu and Kashmir. That is something that is of great concern, not only to Pakistan, but also people of Jammu and Kashmir. We would like to have peace with India, but at the same time, it will be contingent upon the resolution of Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with the UN Security Council resolutions.
Mr. Azim Ammiya.
Mr. Secretary, Mr. Foreign Minister, sorry about that.
I was a secretary.
That's why that reminds me. Okay. Now, today, the caretaker Prime Minister has used the strong words about genocide in India, at the hands of the planned, the Hindutva groups. So, and not only that, along with that, Kashmir has also been mentioned, and UN Security Council has been reminded about the resolutions. Don't you think that this will wage a diplomatic war of right to reply at the UN? And already India is already, facing a global situation regarding Canadian crisis. So what do you think? Won't it inflame the Pak-India confrontation?
Well, you see, the point is that nobody can deny them to exercise their right to reply. We have no doubt about it. But then the point is that whether the stand which is taken by India in respect of this dispute, the core dispute, whether it is accepted by the international community or not. The UN does not accept India's claim that they have been making for a very long time about the UN map does not show Kashmir to be an integral part of India as is claimed by the Indian side. And then I would say, and I say this with full confidence, that the Indian position is not endorsed by any country in the world. Every country in the world, they have to go by the UN Security Council resolutions, and they accept this dispute as a dispute, internationally recognized dispute. You mentioned about the Canadian issue. This is a very unfortunate issue. We We have been a victim of this phenomena for a very long time. I am talking about the assassinations being carried out by India in almost every South Asian country. But this is perhaps for the first time that it has gone global. And this is a very, very serious situation, and I think they will have to come clean on this, because as we see it, and as most of the members of the international community would see it, this is like the mask that they had coming off the Indian face, and having been exposed by this very, very serious crime that has been committed on the Canadian side.
Yes, please.
Lucas Chapman with Arab News. You mentioned the loss and damage fund, and obviously the kind of first litmus test for this fund is the reconstruction efforts in Pakistan after the devastating floods last year. Can you talk a little bit about sort of how has the international cooperation for the loss and damage fund been thus far, and how is this first test going?
Well, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, the Pakistan, along with other like-minded countries, had developed a consensus during COP27 about loss and damages, and also about the establishment of this fund, climate finance fund. In addition to that, there was a donors conference that was held in Geneva beginning of this year, which was sponsored by the UN Secretary General. My understanding is that next week, perhaps on the 27th of this month, the Secretary General is going to convene a meeting in this building where all those countries who had taken part in the donors conference, they are going to meet, and they would certainly, he would present a report about the actualization of those commitments which were made by various countries. To be very honest, so far there has been very little which has been trickled down from the international community as far as the rehabilitation, reconstruction work that has to be carried out. Pakistan is doing that from within its own resources. Our banks are issuing loans on easy terms to all those people who were affected by but then obviously the banking industry has also, there are limits to what they can do. So this is the kind of a situation that we are in, and I think we are hopeful that most of the promises which were made by the donors, they would be fulfilled shortly.
Ms. Sadia Afzal.
Thank you so much. I'm Sadia Afzal. I'm from Suno News. My question to you, Mr. Foreign Minister, is Prime Minister yesterday, he gave a very important statement at Council on Foreign Affairs that we do not wish to join any camp politics. So can you please elaborate us on foreign policy priorities and key partnerships in the current international landscape? Thank you.
You see, obviously, the Prime Minister was referring to this tension which is developing, or rivalry that is being developed in the Asia-Pacific region, the formation of new blocs which are being made, and obviously it presents Pakistan with a very uncomfortable situation. Take, for example, the Asia-Pacific. Asia-Pacific has been a very peaceful region, prosperous region. It has made great economic strides in the last 40, 50 years. And any tension within the Asia-Pacific region, from our point of view, is certainly not good for peace and stability in that region. We would like to basically this region remain as peaceful as possible, so that economic opportunities which are available to Pakistan and other Asia-Pacific countries, they continue to grow. And there are obviously a number of regional connectivity projects which are also in the pipeline. Some are operational. So it was in that context that the Prime Minister mentioned that Pakistan would not become a part of. We have good relations with all countries of the world. This is the policy that enjoys a national consensus within the country. And we have a solid relationship with China. We have very close relationship with the United States of America and also other regional countries of the region, and also Asia-Pacific countries. And we would like to continue with this trajectory in our future.
Mr. Iftikhar Chaudhry.
Thank you. Iftikhar Ali from Associated Press of
course.
Pakistan.
Thank you.
Mr. Foreign Minister, does India's involvement in this horrible murder in Canada have an impact on its campaign to get for a Security Council seat? Have any adverse effect on it?
Well, you know, the Security Council reforms, as you are aware, they have been going on this debate is going on for almost 3 decades now, and there has been no consensus. This is yet another kind of a feather in India's cap. I am not really sure because there are other dynamics which are in play as far as the UN Security Council reforms are concerned. It would certainly materialize in case there is a consensus within the international community. And obviously there is no consensus so far. Pakistan has certainly articulated its position on the UN Security Council reforms, and certainly we would like this process to be entirely democratic. We would like this to be more transparent, and also I think there is an overall consensus within this building, within the members of the UN General Assembly, that there is no need to add to another elite member or group within the Security Council. At the most, what can be done is the expansion of the non-permanent members of the Security Council with perhaps an extended term for some based on certain criteria. So that perhaps remains the position. Well, certainly it has raised a lot of concerns internationally with regard to the kind of action that they have taken in Canada. These countries, as I mentioned earlier, in South Asia, they were already very, very concerned about this phenomena because all countries, South Asian countries, had experienced assassinations originating from India. And this is, in my recollection, this is the first time that they have gone global, and that too in a country which is a very, very important country, which is a member of the G20, which is also part of the alliance system. And probably it would raise concerns in almost every corner of the world.
Thank you so much, Mr. Foreign Minister. My name is Arif Yaqoubi from Afghanistan International TV. I would like to ask you about your policies towards Afghanistan. Recently, you said that TTP is creating a lot of bad blood between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Why, Mr. Foreign Minister, your government, particularly the army of Pakistan, doesn't take any action against TTP in Afghanistan or in Pakistan, and how your policy would look like in the future when it comes to Afghanistan? Is it more tension that it's coming up, or it's going to be more a close relationship? Thank you.
Afghanistan is a sovereign country. Pakistan follows a policy of non-interference in the internal while respecting the sovereignty of other countries. At the same time, we have expectations that Afghan side would take action against all groups who are violating Afghanistan's soil to carry out such terrorist activities against other countries. We have a very good dialogue with with Afghanistan, which is held on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, we have a joint commission which discusses all these issues, and the next meeting of this joint commission is also slated for 21st. It was slated for 21st, which was day before yesterday, and my understanding is that it has been a very good meeting. One thing that I certainly would like to mention, that Afghanistan is also committed to not allowing its soil for terrorist activities against other countries. We recently had a trilateral meeting involving China, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, in which, if you look at the joint statement that was issued after meeting between the foreign ministers of the three countries, there was a reiteration of this commitment by the Afghan side that they will not allow Afghan soil to be used against other countries.
Mr. Anwar Iqbal.
Sir, what are the concrete results of this visit? What did we get out of it?
You can't quantify, when you have a visit of this nature. But the important thing is that under one roof, one is able to interact with almost everyone which is present here. There have been series of meetings that Prime Minister held here. There has been series of meetings that I held with my counterparts, and obviously during these meetings we put across our point of view with regard to important issues, regional issues, global issues to the international community, which is extremely important. And at the same time, I think probably it is the most cost-effective way of interacting with a large number of foreign dignitaries, rather than undertaking visits to the respective countries, which certainly becomes a very expensive proposition. And then it helps in enhancing and solidifying your bilateral relations with a large number of countries. So this is if we have a meeting with the Prime Minister, with the Chinese Vice President, or with the President of Iran, or President of Uzbekistan, or for that matter, Bill Gates, obviously something emerges out of these meetings. It not only helps create better understanding between Pakistan and the other countries about the respective issues, but also some of the pending areas which require attention by the respective countries, that is also there is a reiteration of that as well.
Yes, sir. Please.
Thank you, Minister. Stefano Vaccara, La Voce di New York. I have a follow-up and a question. A follow-up on the Security Council reform. Yes, I heard your answer.
Sorry, which reforms are you?
The Security Council.
Security Council.
Yeah, I heard your answer, but there is a difference lately that the United States, with President Biden, this is the second time they mentioned the reform, and it's clear that the United States now favor the seat for India. So I would like a comment on this, on Biden's speech. But my question instead is on Guterres' speech, the Secretary General. They talk about democracy in danger. Democracy, countries that are democratic, that now turn authoritarian. And my question is, do you think he had in mind also Pakistan? Because a part of the rest of former Prime Minister, for example, just 24 hours ago, a well-known journalist in Pakistan, Muhammad Khalid Jamil, has been arrested. And so my question is Pakistan one of the countries that Guterres was thinking about when he was talking that democracy is in danger?
Well, I think if you look at the situation overall, there have been a number of coups which have taken place recently in some parts of the world. In our neighborhood also, there are a lot of question marks with regard to the democratic process which is being violated with impunity. So that is, I think, probably he may have that in mind as well when he is talking about. And also, I would say that he must also have in mind the kind of denial of justice in many countries in respect of, for instance, the countries which are on the agenda of the UN Security Council. I'm sure that he must be having those in mind as well. Pakistan, we are a democratic country. There is absolutely no doubt about it. We have, in Pakistan, one parliament has completed its full term. It's a constitutional requirement that there is a caretaker setup, which is meant to ensure neutrality in the next elections, which is meant to ensure that the elections are free and fair, and which is also meant to ensure that people are able to participate in the voting process without any violence. This is something, and the preparations are already underway. You mentioned about this journalist. Recently we have promulgated an ordinance which is protection of journalists and media personnel, protection bill. So I think under that bill, if there is any grievances which any member of the media has, and along with that bill that has been passed by our parliament, a commission has also been established within the country, which is basically meant to address the kind of issues that you have just referred to. His lawyers have I don't know the details of the kind of crime or he may have committed, but then there is a legal course available to him, to his lawyers, his families, and they can always seek justice from the court of law.
I know many friends are wanting to ask questions,
I'm
but
sorry,
due to
about
shortage
Biden,
of time.
about Biden's speech on the Security Council reform?
Sorry?
Biden's speech.
Biden's speech. You see, the point is that we are absolutely clear, and all members of the UN system are also clear that these things, inclusion of anyone within as permanent member, that requires a consensus. It is not the will of one country or a couple of other countries. There has to be a consensus.
Did Pakistan make any committee to counter Islamophobia or for pillars of counterterrorism?
Yes, this is an important issue that we discussed the other day. As a matter of fact, there is a group which is OIC group on Muslims in Europe, in which we made out a very strong case for effective legislation to contain this phenomena. And we, in that group, we also appreciated the introduction of a bill by the government of Denmark in their which would criminalize such offenses, such actions, either burning of holy books or insulting the prophets of any religion. So I think this is a good step that they have taken. Another country, Sweden, is also seriously contemplating taking similar action. My reason is that my own belief is that once this bill is passed, the Danish, many other countries will also follow suit.
Well, this is going to be last question. Mr. Janzeb Ali.
Janzeb Ali from Airway News. Sir, do you think that the world has left Pakistan alone to deal with the situation of Afghanistan?
That's not the impression that I get. I have more than 24 of meetings with my counterparts from Europe, from Middle East, from Latin America, that's not the impression that I get. I think Pakistan is certainly taken as a very, very important country. Whether it's the OIC, whether it is SCO. SCO has emerged as a major organization, or SICA for that matter. It's a great organization. And then the kind of role that Pakistan plays in the UN system, the kind of role that Pakistan plays in the OIC, within the OIC as an active member, or other groups that we are part of, whether it's SCO. I think everybody acknowledges the important role that has been played by Pakistan.
Sir. From Express News. So PM sideline meetings can help to build the relationship between other countries. Second question. Pakistan government did move any application against India human rights for Canada attention?
You see, the point is it's not for Pakistan to move an application. I think the Canadians have already highlighted this issue. Probably they are also asking for a proper investigation, and I'm sure that that will be held at some stage.
I think, I'm sorry, I know you have many questions to ask, but I think we are running short of time. Okay, one question, please.
Okay,
two more. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Pakistan military that in 71 war they killed 2 million Bengalis, and most of the contents they are fake, and I think this is a serious issue, could be dangerous than forfeit. So what is the counter strategy of the Foreign Office to deal with that kind of matter that comes to U.S.
Where
Congress?
is this bill? Which Congress are you referring?
U.S. Congress. In U.S. Congress, there is a bill pending for discussion. The contents of the bill is the Pakistan military, they killed 70 in 71 war, 2 million Bengalis. So what is the
to be very honest, I am not aware of any bill which is pending before the American Congress.
From Don Islamabad. Pakistan is facing immense of terrorism, and TTP and mostly the other networks are involved in that. And it reportedly the US and the NATO forces have left ammunition and weapons in Afghanistan, which was denied by the Washington. So which is becoming a threat to Pakistan, and these terrorist groups are using these weapons against Pakistan. Pakistan forces doesn't have that sort of weapons. So have you raised this issue, your concerns, Pakistan's concerns regarding the terrorism on this forum or not? Thank you.
Certainly we have apprised everyone that we interacted with about the danger to Pakistan's security that these terrorist groups they pose. You are absolutely right that TTP attacks emanating from Afghanistan inside Pakistan, they have increased manifold in recent years. But no, you see, the point is that it's not the policy only in respect of Afghan refugees. What we are discussing is that all those illegal people who had come to Pakistan in the last several years, they should go back to their respective countries. And these illegal people are not only from Afghanistan, but other countries as well. So there is a policy decision that we will ask those countries to take back these people who had, wherever there was a dispute, these people, they came to Pakistan and we opened up arms for these people. But then I think now that situation is in Afghanistan is getting back to normal, so these people, they should go back to their respective countries. And we would expect the international community to help repatriate these people to their respective countries with dignity and honor.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.